How is Annapolis Pediatrics educating families to make healthy choices every day? Next on Food for Thought. Hi, I'm Jodi Risse, the host for Food for Thought, and thanks for watching. Today I'm joined by Tammy Turner from Annapolis Pediatrics. Tammy and I often talk about the health and the well-being of our students and our families right here in Anne Arundel County. Welcome, Tammy, to Food for Thought.
Thanks for having me, Jodi.
Can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and what is your role at Annapolis Pediatrics?
Absolutely. So I've lived in Anne Arundel County for over 25 years. I have 2 children, both gone to Anne Arundel County Public Schools. I have a daughter who goes to UNH and a son who's a senior at Severna Park High School. And at Annapolis Pediatrics, I have a great role where I get to do fun stuff with marketing and community outreach and teaching families.
And I think what's so important in our connection, you know, we're going to talk about it throughout the show, but we both are pretty passionate about the health and the well-being of students, of families, of community members. And we feel in Anne Arundel County, when we educate our students, we know it goes home to the family and it goes to the extended family. Absolutely. Can you tell me, what are the providers, what's their role when they're with the families at Annapolis Pediatrics, and how do they make a difference, for the health and the well-being of all of the communities they serve?
Right. So the providers, even like a few years ago, noticed that with kids, health and wellness is, super important, and we need to do a little bit more educating and teaching and outreach to parents, specifically regarding nutrition. Common thread, a lot of parents have issues with how to feed their kids, what to feed their kids, when to feed their kids, all those sorts of consistent questions. So about 3 years ago, we started a nutrition initiative, a committee of providers, nurses, and staff that are passionate about nutrition and wellness, and sort of decided at that point we needed to go and do a little bit more hands-on and outreach to our community.
And I think at the offices, when you have the students or you have the children, I guess they're students to us. They're
right.
not. I guess at the offices
Families
there.
And children, right.
It's probably an interesting tie because you're able to talk to the children, right?
Yes.
And the extended family would be with them.
Correct. Yes. So it's that whole dynamic of the parents and the kids, and teaching them. It just sort of mushroomed or grew into. We wanted to go out. We shared a lot of information with our families, but wanted to go out to the community as well and share information specifically about nutrition, because that affects everyone.
And I think we talked a bit before the show. Not only how you and I are passionate about what we do in our own personal lives, but I would think the doctors, the providers, everybody at the office feels the same way.
Absolutely.
Right?
You have a lot of providers who are parents who struggle with the same issues that the people that they're helping do. So they come from a true, genuine, this is what I do for my family, this is what works, this is what doesn't, and how they can help others.
And I use it, I know, in school nutrition all the time, because I have 2 children that are in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and they eat school lunch and school breakfast.
Right.
So I think it's interesting to be able to look at it through the lens of a registered dietitian, but I'm a mom, and I'm able to say, well, what are my children eating at school, and are they selecting fruits and vegetables? How are they choosing their grains? Are they choosing things that are complementing the menu and adding to their meal? So I think it's always an interesting twist to have the piece of what we personally believe in, and we're educated, right, to teach that, and then put it throughout the community.
Right, and share that information.
Now, in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, wellness is a huge initiative.
Right.
It started years ago through some of legislation that came from USDA, but I think we already had a lot of things in place. We had structures in place. We had a lot of cross-training of all the multidisciplines, and we included parents and students and our nurses and even staff wellness because of that role modeling piece. What are initiatives that Annapolis Pediatrics is doing when they're looking at that whole wellness
Right.
continuum?
So we're trying to reach different audiences. So just for example, we offer a class for parents of toddlers, the 18-month to 4-year age, because consistently parents have a lot of questions during that stage of life for their children. It's the picky eater stage or the food jag stage where kids will only eat strawberries for, a week. And parents are like, is my child getting enough nutrients? So we developed a class where we teach parents and educate them, that's okay, it's gonna be all right, and they're gonna get through that stage. That's one of them. We've gone out to different community groups and preschools and done a Taste the Rainbow class. And then we've also met with younger kids and adolescents and tried to educate on reading food labels and eating out and portion size, all these things that affect us.
And I think all those nutrition pieces fit perfectly in our wheelhouse, right? I mean, as a registered dietitian
Right.
and a supervisor here in food service, it's definitely the topic we always talk about as well. But I think it's so important when you look at wellness that it's a whole balance,
Right.
So we do look at the balance. We even look at sleep, right? So, and
absolutely.
I think, I'm sure in the
Yes.
offices, at
Yes.
Annapolis Pediatrics, that's key, and it's the structure of it or the routine of we're going to come home from school and we're going to have a snack, or we're going to start our homework and then we're going to eat dinner together. And
Right.
it's all those components that, as people ask us too, I'm always willing to share what we do in our schools.
Yep.
And I think especially on that fruit and vegetable, we allow students in Anne Arundel County to pick or choose fruits and vegetables and fill half of their plate. And I think exactly to what you said, if there's a picky eater,
Right.
and that student only wants a strawberry, but maybe a sugar snap pea and maybe a wheel of zucchini,
Right.
we really foster that in that relationship with the student. Say, it's okay, you can try all of those things.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a half a cup of peas or a half a cup of green beans.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to do that in our role, and I know, all the providers in the offices.
Absolutely. We had one of our providers was telling the story the other day. A parent came in and actually had a video showing their child trying a food and was like, they're not eating it. It was a toddler, and wanted to show the doc the video of them not trying this food. And he was like, oh my gosh, here's the problem. The portion size was way too big. So the child was like overwhelmed. And, it was a great opportunity for him to educate the parent that, you got to start way smaller.
Right.
That's too big for them to.
And probably just that 1 or 2 bites
Exactly.
is all that
Yep.
they needed.
Yes.
It'd be interesting, and I don't know if you know, in that case, was the mom or dad role modeling, or whomever the guardian would be? Were they role modeling with that child? Because I always find that interesting.
Yes.
If the parents don't,
Right.
our kids do exactly what we do.
Right, exactly. They absolutely were role modeling. They were trying to, but they were trying to, again, to get their child to try something else, but it was just too much of something else. So it was just sort of that readjustment and learning curve for the parent, like, oh, they might be willing to try this if it's a little bit smaller portion for them to sample.
Right, just that one bite,
Yes,
right? And
exactly.
then multiple times. And that's what
Oh,
we always
that's huge,
encourage
yes.
is try it once, let it go for a few days,
Yeah.
try it again. It's okay to have dips.
Yes. Yep.
Especially for fruits and vegetables. That's something, and I think a viewer watching today might say, well, I just want them to have that fresh veggie or the fresh fruit, and it really is okay. But kids like to dip.
Yes.
And
they
it's
do.
okay. You can pick, yogurt dips for fruits,
Right.
with vanilla yogurt.
Yep.
And you can make really some great, interesting dips for the veggies as
Right.
well, and it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing we talk about too is prepare your foods different ways, because roasting vegetables gives it a different flavor combination than eating it raw. Some kids like it raw, some kids like it roasted, but trying to mix it up a little bit and provide different types of ways that's prepared for them to try.
Yeah, I love that you just brought up roasting. I think for viewers watching, we roast vegetables in Anne Arundel County Public Schools.
Yeah.
So we do a butternut squash, an acorn squash, Brussels sprouts.
Oh, yum.
We added roasted carrots and roasted pumpkin.
Okay.
And it's really just changing exactly like you said. The presentation on the serving line is beautiful, and it's such a hearty, golden, it's a beautiful product on the
Right.
line, and it's slow. We just say to the students, try one.
Right.
Try another, and then we also look at some of the others, obviously steaming, and
Yes.
I mean, we don't have any fryers in Anne Arundel County, so that's not an issue of are we going to ever fry one of them. We
Right.
wouldn't, but
Right.
It does. It definitely makes a difference. And I think the more they see it just raw, roasted or steamed, and it's a different taste, a different palate, and we might catch them one day on it, and then the next day they might prefer the other.
And the other thing is, you eat first with your eyes, so the color combinations and doing a lot of different varieties of color, tasting the rainbow colors and that sort of thing, that's huge, and that's something that we share with our families as well.
Now, you and I are on a committee together, and the thing that I'm always questioned about, and I think it's interesting because I think we often sit around a table and we look at ways we can better the nutrition of our students and the families that we serve. We look at ways to increase physical activity, and we look at more outreach. So I think for viewers watching, and I'm often asked, why do you only serve pizza? My daughter, my son comes home and they only have pizza. And it's so far from what we do in Anne Arundel County.
Right.
Can you share with the viewers a little bit? On our committees, we talk about some extension of our services.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe even start with summer. So we provide summer meals, and I think you've been an active participant with us and partnering with us.
Absolutely. I love the Summer Meals program. I think that is, for us, to be able to share that information and educate our families that that's an opportunity for them to have meals throughout the summer for their children. It's a great benefit and a great way that we've been able to work together. Anytime we ever hear great things that are happening with the public schools, we share it on our social media sites. We are happy to have flyers up in our offices and advance and educate families about any of the issues that are happening.
Yeah, and I think we've talked a little bit before the show. The one thing that we could both do is I see our students, and I'm able to reach out, via the AACPS TV. I could reach out through our flyers or through our social media. But it's so nice to have you and I have a professional relationship that we know what benefits we each provide to the families we serve and to the communities we serve. So I think it's really nice to be able to say it really does happen in Anne Arundel County.
Absolutely.
We do a great summer program. We started dinner as well, and I know that we're also using like recreation and parks, and we have some Department of Health programming coming through. So if students are after school, we can provide them a healthy breakfast, we do a healthy lunch, and we know now we're actually giving them and providing a healthy dinner.
That's great.
Which is really, I think it's making a difference for the community. And for the students that we serve. So really that health and wellness piece is coming together.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
That's great.
There's one other thing that we talk about with Obesity Subcommittee.
Yes.
And it's a lot about the farmers markets.
Yes.
And so how, I know you, through the providers at Annapolis Pediatrics, also promote, where can you go for fresh fruits and vegetables?
Absolutely.
How can you procure them?
Right. So one of the things we do, just because we have a lot of traffic in our offices, we have a lot of patient flow coming in and out, we have a nutrition board set up in every waiting room of our 4 offices. Specifically during the summer months, we make sure we post all the farmers markets where they're located. In addition, we share recipes that are seasonal for families to be able to come and take a look at, and usually they're pretty kid-friendly, so we make sure that there's something either a provider has prepared themselves and is a good recipe for their family, or something that we've seen that a lot of people have really enjoyed. But that's another way that we try and share information about what's happening.
It's nice that you say that. There's a map that we've both been privy to that has been done through the Department of Health. And it shows where the food deserts are in our county, or where the access to healthy foods is limited.
Right.
It shows where farmers markets are. It shows where our mobile meals in the summer go. So all of our summer meals that we branch out into the community and we reach a needier community that might not have access, we're able to provide them lunch. And I believe it also talks about all of the schools that are at 50% free and reduced price meals. So we know that there's might be pockets of need. And how could we coordinate our efforts? And I think it's something that our subcommittee does very well, to look at obesity, but also look at hunger.
Right.
And how do we
bridge that gap? Absolutely.
And really provide what families need to make those right choices or have access to the right choices. We only have a few seconds left here before we're going to go for break, but we talked briefly also before the show about role modeling.
Yes.
And I think something that I find very interesting, about you and I, but also about all the providers, they're role models. they're able to share with every family that comes in the importance of eating healthy, being physically active, having proper sleep.
Right.
Do you see that in all the dealings throughout the offices, in all the offices?
Absolutely. And I think that's one thing that really helps parents is to be able to connect to their provider and know that their provider struggles with busy schedules and active kids that are involved in a lot of activities. And, you know, that's really one of the reasons why we started an initiative to try and help, you know, help families be more prepared with the lives that they have and dealing with the everyday challenges that they face.
That's great. Don't go away. We're going to be right back with Tammy Turner from Annapolis Pediatrics, and we're going to talk more about our collaboration with Anne Arundel County and Annapolis Pediatrics.
Hi, I'm Wiley Baker. Sports abound here in Anne Arundel County. Join me for another edition of Athletes in Action later today, right here on AACPS TV.
I'm Corporal Gamble with the Anne Arundel County Police. In regards to school safety, there are certain items that are not allowed in school. Weapons, anything that can be construed as a weapon, cannot be brought to school. Things like switchblades, knives, anything with a sharp point, fingernail files, guns of any sort cannot be brought to school. Also, illegal drugs, prescription drugs, unless they are issued by the health room, cannot be brought to school. Tobacco products of any sort, alcohol, anything of that nature is not something that you can have in school.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying tuned to Food for Thought. Tammy Turner is joining me today from Annapolis Pediatrics, and we're talking about the health and the well-being of the communities we serve. Tammy, the earlier segment, we talked a lot about what we do jointly,
Yes.
And how we really have outreach into the communities that we serve. So the providers in the hospitals or the providers in the offices at Annapolis Pediatrics, and obviously in all the schools in Anne Arundel County. But can we talk specifically about the classes and the workshops that are offered? I think it's amazing. I think they all stem around nutrition, which is, you know, just something I love to hear about, and I love to be, you know, hearing that good nutrition messages are going throughout the community in Anne Arundel County and out. So thank you for that, but please share with the viewers a little bit about those.
We're thrilled about this. We love to go out and talk to the kids, and we've specifically gone to 5th grades in Anne Arundel County schools and gone to talk to them about a series of 5 different key areas, looking at food labels, portion size, eating out, snacks, making them healthy, and then balancing calories in and calories out.
And I think you've tied in curriculum.
Yes.
You've tied in math.
Yes.
We've tied in reading.
Yep.
It's very visual. And share a little bit. And I know it's hard to describe it all fully in the studio, but one of the lesson plans talks about red food that would not necessarily be a good choice.
Absolutely. So I can give you a visual. This is one of the things that we talk about and show kids in these classes, to look at food labels and read the serving sizes and read what you're actually taking into your body. So this would be a soda. And we talk about this in a couple of different classes when you eat out, and then also portion size and also reading labels. It kind of covers
all
it.
of them.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So in this soda, you would consume 65, if you drank this entire bottle, you would consume 65 grams of sugar, okay? Which, you know, that's hard for kids to conceptualize. So we broke that down into sugar cubes, which equals about 21 sugar cubes. And we show this and have them pass it around and actually really look at that and say, would you in your lifetime sit and eat this much sugar? And they're like appalled. They're like, oh, I love sugar. When you first say it, they're like, I love sugar. And then they look at this and they're like, oh, that's disgusting. And it is, it's gross. Mm-hmm. So we use a lot of hands-on visual tools to really drive home the message and help educate them.
And I like on the one lesson plan, stickers go home with the students, correct?
Absolutely. So that very first one that we offer is red, yellow, green, and it's trying to identify foods that are, foods that you should only eat occasionally. Those are your red foods. Yellow, they're okay and kind of go slowly. And then green as much as you want. So the very first thing we say are fruits and vegetables are always green foods. Those are fresh fruits and vegetables. Those are your go-to. When you want a snack, those are your good. Those are good for you. The other ones, you can go to your pantry, read the food label, and try and use the math and identify which it should, whether it's a red or a yellow or a green food.
Mm-hmm. And I love it, just that reinforcement with the sticker,
Yes.
with the colors.
Yes.
So really, red stop, right?
Absolutely.
So I just think the lesson plan is done so well. It's real.
Yes. Yep.
It puts them in positions where they could possibly be. Now, I have my older daughter's getting older, so she's out with more families, or she's out, often by herself with other groups of girls and their families.
Right.
Is she looking at the right portion size? Is she making the right selection when she's out?
Yeah.
And I think when we educate our students, right, or in your case, your families,
Yes.
to make those right choices, I think they really will instill what they've learned and use it in as many opportunities and as often as they can.
Absolutely. One of the big things that we teach the kids is when they go out to eat, because all of us, we all live very busy lifestyles, and when kids are especially hitting that late elementary school or early middle school age, they're starting to make those choices independently of their parents. And one of the lesson plans that we offer is when you do go out to eat, how you, at any fast food restaurant, you can find something healthy on their menu. It just takes a little detective work. Mm-hmm. And kids are sort of shocked at that. They just sort of feel like there are only certain restaurants that you could find healthy foods, and that's not really the case. So we kind of walk them through that process and help them learn how to do that by themselves.
And it's nice that they learn how, but they should ask those questions too.
Absolutely.
Maybe, and I'm just going to use it as our example. Every parent that hears what their student had at school lunch, they come home and they talk about the entree or the protein and the grain combination. They don't often talk about all those sides. And it's the same thing often in restaurants.
Yes, exactly.
So you see what the primary protein would be, or what that entree, the center component of their tray.
Right.
But they're not telling you all the great fruits and vegetables they have on the side, or the steamed or the roasted vegetables. So sometimes just asking also opens that door, and it allows some more communication with the server and with the staff if you're out.
Right.
Now, for the 18 months, and I think we talked about it, yes, it's 18 months to the 4-year-olds.
So that class is for parents.
Okay.
Because, parents of that's your sort of your year and a half to 4-year-olds who are just starting to eat more independently. They are starting to also become more independent in every aspect of their life, and they're starting to use the word no a lot. So parents really struggle at that stage with what to feed their kid, portion size. If their kid only wants to eat one thing for the 2 weeks, they're not going to grow up to be a healthy eater. And that's, we do a lot of education and teaching to parents. It's going to be okay. That's a normal stage, and it's a really popular class with our families.
And it takes some time.
It does.
I think we see it all the time in school nutrition.
Yeah.
When we started offering our unlimited choices of fruits and vegetables, Brussels sprouts weren't the most popular thing the first time. We did have some pockets that the students really liked them and they were familiar, but not others. So the more we put it, we have a 5-week cycle menu, the more it's offered on the menu, the more excitement we're seeing around it,
Absolutely.
And again, do we steam it or do we roast it? Is another thing. So I think for a young child, in those early years before they come to us in AACPS, that's so critical. And I think what I would say to the viewers, it's so critical to be the role model.
Absolutely.
To eat as a family, to have meals together as a family, to share what happened in the day, and everybody should have that same item. If mom doesn't really like green beans, well, then mom should try to have some green beans with her, her children that day.
Right,
So it really does. I think it sets the tone. They want to do what we do as role models, and it's probably best for the whole family at that point.
It's true. It is true. And we share that information as well, and talk about it takes a long time for kids to like a new food. So one time doesn't totally make it not a winner. That it takes, for some kids, it takes up to 25 times of trying a food over and over again. So I love that the schools offer unlimited fruits and vegetables, because I think that gives kids a great opportunity throughout the school day to have that chance.
And just to take that one, right?
Yeah,
just to try that one piece. They don't need a whole half cup of peas. They don't need,
Right.
and there's a story that goes back. We obviously eat with our children. Family meals are very important in our household still. We still do, even with games and schedules. It's crazy, but we eat together as a family. And a long time ago, when our children were young, they are very good fruit and vegetable eaters. And one of our friends said, "How do you get your daughter to eat those peas? What do you do?" And I said, "It's frozen peas. And as they're thawing, they still have that crispness."
Yes.
She loved them.
Yep.
So we said to him, there's nothing special about it. It
Right.
didn't have extra preparation. I just bought a really nice frozen pea that once it thawed and it started to thaw, it was perfect. So,
Right.
that's also something for, younger
Absolutely.
children and younger, parents watching to actually include some of these things with their kids.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
Now, Tasting of the Rainbow.
Yes, that's another class that we both offer. And our version, we go out to preschools. We do it a bunch of different ways, but pretty much the same consistent class of sampling fruits and vegetables. And we do 3 fruits, 3 vegetables, and we try and make them seasonal. But just to give you an example, we'll do for fruits a red, yellow, green. So red raspberry, mango, and then kiwi. And then we pair it with a organic Greek vanilla yogurt. And then for our vegetables, we'll do red pepper, a yellow snacking tomato, which has been very popular, and then a sugar snap pea, and we'll pair that with hummus. And we'll have the kids taste it by itself and then dip it and see if they can tell the difference and what they like different, kind of identify. And then we always send a worksheet home with to the parents, checking off what the kids actually tasted and what they enjoyed. And we've had huge response from that with parents like, "I cannot believe my child sampled a sugar snap pea. They would never try that." But they liked it in the hummus. So it's great. It's a great opportunity for kids from preschool all the way through the years.
Sure, and I think that's why we love it in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So we started, I think, in 2007. It's been years of a Tasting of the Rainbow, first Friday of the month. And we wanted to do the same thing. We choose one color only.
Okay.
And we said, how do we really have a student try something new for the first time in an environment with all of their friends and all of their classmates having it? So it could be the Brussels sprouts, which we did start in a Tasting of the Rainbow. Now it's on the menu.
That's great.
So it's unbelievable to see. We saw some excitement about it. We knew that if they tried it a few more times, they would like it more. We tried different preparations, and now it's menued. Pumpkin is the same thing, and we've done roasted chickpeas. So we really try to do all sorts of different items for Tasting of the Rainbow. We've actually started incorporating some local produce as well.
That's great.
So we're huge proponents of buying local when we can, and we want to buy Anne Arundel, Maryland, if we could.
Yeah.
The county and the state.
Right.
But we do go all the way into Virginia, a little bit West Virginia. We have about 150-mile radius. So we believe that Tasting of the Rainbow is a great way, to really focus on new products, something the student may never see.
Right.
Have them try it with all their friends, get excited about it, and we help go home and talk about it too.
And that has been our experience, and that absolutely happens. And we, like I said, we even hit the younger age, that age category that we talked about, where we talk to parents. We also directly go to the kids at preschools and have them sample it, have them sample the different colors and the different types of fruits and vegetables. And even their preschool teachers are sort of amazed at their reaction, because you're providing it in that group classroom setting, and there's still that sort of dialogue amongst the children, like, "Oh, did you try that?" It's great.
It's good. It's not good.
Exactly.
And that's what we always say when we do it. We're like, no, you can't make facial expressions.
Right.
You can't say, if it's not good, why?
Right.
And for the hummus, and I think for a viewer watching, we did hummus years ago, and we said, do you like it, yes or no? And we thought maybe we should do 2 different flavors.
Yes.
So now we rotate. I think we had roasted red pepper and we had a garlic. Which do you prefer? And the whole
great.
philosophy, and that the dialogue you have with the student is completely different when you ask, which do you prefer?
Yes, and I think kids are very savvy nowadays with their, there are lots of shows and lots of cooking things, and they're very knowledgeable about foods. And it's helpful to get them to actually see what they might see on TV, but to actually have the experience to taste it and try something new.
Yeah, I agree. It's all exciting. It's all fun.
Yeah.
I love the partnership that we have together. So I think today's show flew by.
Oh, it
Show's
did.
over. But again, thank you for the work you do at Annapolis Pediatrics and for all the providers and all the offices.
Absolutely. Thanks.
As you can see, Annapolis Pediatrics and Anne Arundel County Public Schools are definitely partnering. We're passionate about the health and the well-being of the students that we serve, as well as the families and the communities that the providers serve in their offices. If you have any questions about AACPS, give me a call at 410-222-5900. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time on Food for Thought.